we are back with another Black with No Cream podcast. New episode every single Wednesday and Sunday. I'm your host, Ben Haggerty, aka Ben Real vs. World. And today on the podcast, we have Danilo Lewis, the tour photographer for the Chainsmokers. He also shoots for Zedd, Florida Georgia Line, and Steve Aoki. He comes from Washington, D.C., where he worked as a financial advisor and hustled on the side until he eventually quit his job to pursue photography full time. He came up shooting at Echostage, one of the biggest EDM venues in the country, and eventually became the lead house photographer for them. He worked his way up in the festival circuit, building up a massive name for himself. One year even getting hired to shoot 25 different festivals around the country, which is ludicrous. Eventually he got his opportunity to impress the Chainsmokers team and fucking murdered it. He landed his first tour with them and hasn't looked back since. This guy is insane. I mean, in this episode, he shares his strategy for killing it in the EDM photography space, how he connects with artists and their management, and how he's been able to shoot some of the biggest festivals in this world. So hang tight. I said in this world, which is funny. Danilo only shoots festivals in this world, not the other ones. Some of our other guests speak shooting the other worlds. What the fuck am I talking about? If you're new, you're probably like, what the hell does Black with No Cream stand for? Black with No Cream is a private content creator group fueled by caffeine, or at least I take my coffee black with no cream, but you can drink or not drink whatever caffeine you fuck with and still be a part of our community. All creators are welcome. You can go to BWNC.com/join and sign up. You should do it because it's fire. Make sure that you keep listening to this podcast if you're new, because every single Sunday we interview guests like Danilo, people that are crushing it in the industry, and we drop those every single Sunday. And on Wednesdays we do a morning roast segment where we deep dive into different creative topics, and that drops every Wednesday morning. So tons of shit to gain. We highly suggest you subscribe on whatever platform you're on. And just so you understand what's coming next, we got heaters after heaters. October 6th, we have music producer Business Boy, who has produced music for artists like Party Next Door, Black, Sway Lee, Dreamville, Young Thug, so many others. October 13th, we have Currency's creative director and documentary filmmaker CJ Wallace, who has gained recognition recently for his latest award-winning documentary, The Perfect Bid, which blew up on Netflix. And on October 20th, we have Brian Z, who is the creator of DJ Booth and AudioMac, two massive online music platforms. So much to gain, so much knowledge about to come your way. Make sure you guys subscribe. And if you want to get access to all these podcast episodes 1 week early, you can get that when you join us on Patreon. Patreon.com/blackwithNoCream. When you sign up, you get access to all these, plus so many other amazing perks. We highly suggest you go and take a look at everything that you get when you join us on Patreon. So do that if you fuck with Black with No Cream. Appreciate that. That's it. Yeah, that's it. We'll just jump into the episode right motherfucking now.
Attention.
If you stop this podcast recording at any time, you will die.
I don't want to die.
Do you want to live? Yeah.
You have 24 hours to share this podcast with 5 people or you will die.
I'm kidding. You won't die. You're just weak shit for not sharing.
And the winner of the best motherfucking podcast goes to...
Black with No Cream.
What do you think?
It's so fucking dumb and so fucking Ben Haggerty.
I knew you would say that. And we are back with another Black with No Cream podcast. New episode every single Wednesday and Sunday. I'm your host, Ben Haggerty, aka Ben Real vs. World. Today, Danilo Lewis. I said it right?
You said it right.
But you had a little tongue roll when you said it.
Danilo.
What's happening, player?
Doing good, man.
Yeah.
Enjoying this LA life.
Yeah, how often do you get that?
Not often. So
No?
I take advantage of it, even though it's hot outside today.
Bro, I know. I don't understand what the fuck's going on. We were just in Portland. It was like 95 degrees and we had to walk like 2 blocks. And
It's okay. I came from the East Coast. I'd rather have this hot than the East Coast hot.
Well, is it mad hot right now?
Yeah. You got the hotness and the humidity, and it's just not a good combination.
The fucking worst.
Yeah. You might as well stay home.
Your work, man. You photograph for a living.
Yes.
Which is a pretty tight job.
Yes. It's fun.
I know there's a couple artists that you shoot for that people may know.
A few.
But it probably wasn't always like that.
No.
Which I think is what we're going to get into for this story, which would be dope.
I like that.
Chainsmokers, Florida Georgia Line, and Zedd are like the top 3 people you got listed in your IG bio. Do you work with anyone else?
I do. I still do work with Steve Aoki.
Yeah.
Some other corporate clients like Adidas, Tommy Hilfiger, and some other clients like that.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
So it's a mix between branded and artistry.
Yeah. I don't promote my branding too much. I like to keep that just sort of word of mouth. But that's what I'm here for. Talk about it a little bit more.
Yeah, that's dope. So I know you said you saw Dusty Kessler's episode.
Yeah.
You saw Adam DeGrosse.
Yeah. So both the last 2 episodes of Adam DeGrosse. I didn't see his first episode.
Oh yeah, we've done three now.
3, yeah.
Fucking Jesus. Which is dope because you had reached out to Dusty, and Dusty connected us.
Yeah, definitely.
He's like, yo, this dude wants to do it. He shoots for Chainsmokers, and I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen this shit. All right, let's do it. I'm like, I fucking love the internet.
It was super quick. I was like, I mentioned to him like the night before. I was like, hey, I just saw I was like seeing your episode. He was like, you should do it. I was like, I don't know, Ben. He was like, don't worry, I got it.
Yeah.
And then the next day it was just like, boom, done.
Dusty's the boy. Follow him if you don't know him.
Definitely.
I thought it was cool because it was like you said before we started recording that you had your management was kind of like, yo, you should start talking a little bit more about you, and you were kind of feeling off-putted about it. Yeah,
I've shied away from it for so long. I always thought that I needed to be behind that camera. Like I wasn't trying to be a personality. I wasn't trying to be famous. I wasn't trying to find any sort of fame. But moving here to LA, I just moved here like in January.
Oh shit.
And I'm starting to realize that the LA game is different. You have to be, as part of your branding, you have to be in front of the camera. You have to be able to show people who you are, what your brand is about. Like you got to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I think it was just kind of the time to do it now.
So had you been getting hit up by like different like publications or podcasts and shit like this? I'm sure people hit you up a few times.
There was a few times. It just wasn't the right feel. It wasn't the right vibe. And I think the story that they wanted to tell wasn't the story I wanted to tell. It was very artist centric. They wanted to know more about the artist than know what I'm doing. Or
what do they eat in the green room?
Exactly. And
what do they eat in the green room? I'm kidding, dog.
Very healthy, actually.
That's dope. Yeah, that's tight for you. That's always like the hardest part is like when I'm touring, it's just like trash food. Or the last tour was better, but man, the first one I gained like 30 pounds real quick.
Don't get me. I mean, there's the bad days, but I try to. I'm trying to live this LA life. I'm trying to bring that sexy back.
So you moved from New York?
From DC.
From DC.
Yeah, Washington DC.
Oh shit, that's crazy. Yeah. I want to get. I mean, we'll get into the whole connecting with the artists and how you blew up as a creator. But initially getting started, you were in DC. You were born and raised in DC?
No, I was born in Nicaragua.
Okay.
In Managua, Nicaragua. My parents moved to Puerto Rico. My dad's Puerto Rican, so we moved.
Shout out, Dave's Puerto Rican.
Oh, shout out, Dave.
He just took a quick trip. Where'd you go? Did you and your family just went to Puerto Rico or something, right? Oh, they're going in December. Yeah.
All right.
I need to go, man. I've never gone.
Yeah. And then after Puerto Rico, we moved to DC.
Shit.
Yeah.
Why did they choose DC?
My dad's business.
Oh, really?
His business there, and so took us there.
So was your family like creative heavy or?
My mother was.
Yeah.
My mother. I can't remember when was it that she left her job and decided to be an artist. She was always an artist.
Yeah.
Well, it was just one day she was just at home and she was a painter. She was did jewelry, like all kinds of artistic stuff. And as I was growing up, obviously I'm the youngest of my siblings, so I was with her all the time.
Right.
So whenever she would have her art professors come in, I was there and I was getting free art lessons when I was like,
that's pretty dope.
Like 8, 9, 10 years old, and just sort of. I started gravitating towards that with her because I was with her so much.
Right, it just like exposed creativity to you at an early. That's fucking dope.
Yeah.
So was she quit her regular job? What was she doing? Some like
to be honest, I can't even remember what it was.
Just some regular shit.
Yeah.
And then she quits and starts like, is it like a business selling like art?
Yeah, she's had gallery showings.
Oh, damn.
Like I went to school in between Puerto Rico and DC. I went to school in an island in Antigua in the Caribbean.
Okay.
And my parents also moved there, and she had a couple, actually more than a couple, like gallery showings where she sold her art. And she's like been selling her jewelry for the past, like, I want to say like 10, 12 years, something like that.
That's dope.
And she still does art. Like our home, my parents love art, so it's always covered with art, but it's also like you'll walk and you'll see like some cool stuff and like, oh wait, this one's mine. Like,
yeah.
Like she loves that. So,
yeah. Damn. I feel like it's cool to be able to be exposed to not only the artistic side of things, which is obviously like it's a pastime, which is cool because you get your kids doing that type of shit, but also the hustle of being a freelancer. You know what I mean? She's running her own business.
And I think that kind of helped when I was leaving my day job, and I was like, I think I'm going to pursue this. I think this is the right time for me to do this, to quit this. I've been doing photography just part-time, but I think I could actually do this. That I never got any pushback. My parents were just like, go for it.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, I mean, they've seen it. They've been around it. So
right.
It was just a matter of like, if you're going to do it, you have to do it the right way. There's no coming back from this. Like you just can't rely that you have a degree or you have this other jobs and you can come back. No, you have to think of you're going, put your all into it, you don't come back to this other life.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so true though. That's like exactly what it is.
Yeah. So.
Or unless if you aren't going into it with that mentality, you're straight up like fucking it up. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to work.
You got to commit to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it takes time, you know.
When was the first time I don't know why, when you were just explaining that, it just made me have like crazy nostalgia of like when I got my first DSLR.
Yeah.
Obviously, I played with cameras before that, and it was just whatever through my family. But now, just I don't know why, I just remember like getting it and spending the money and hating myself when I like ran the card, and then being like, but then I had the lens, and then I could like figure. When did you start fucking with cameras?
So. My first official camera that was mine.
Yeah.
Because my mom always had cameras. She loved film. She loved even digital film afterwards. And I would always just steal her for cameras whenever I wanted to take any photos. But my first camera, I got it for my birthday. I want to say I was a freshman in college probably, and it was a Canon ELPH. Like this point and shoot little Canon ELPH, like the first one.
Right.
I mean, I still have it, and
Damn.
I mean, it's a humongous paperweight now that I see it compared to what it is now. But the first one I bought myself was a Canon T2i with. I remember it came with the kit lens and everything. When I was like, no, I'm not doing the kit lens. I had a friend of mine who was a photographer already in Miami, and I just was like, hey, what lens should I get? Like, what do you think? Like, I should upgrade. And she straight up was like, 24-70, 2.8, go for it. And that was like the second biggest purchase.
Shit.
And
it's probably more than the camera.
Yeah, and I even did it through Craigslist. I was like,
oh shit,
I was like, I looked at the prices online. I was like, all right, this is way above my budget.
Right.
I found a guy who was like right in between my budget and met him up in like some random parking lot. But he was a photographer. He was real cool. He was like crazy excited to sell because he knew that I was just starting out.
That's
and for some
dope.
reason, he was like, I'm excited to see like your journey beginning with this. I mean, I didn't know what I was gonna do.
Yeah.
I didn't know where it was gonna take me. But it was like in that moment, I was like, cool, man, stop being weird. Let me do it. Here's your money. Bye.
Well, can I follow you on Facebook? I would love to follow, see where you go. That's pretty dope. That's pretty wild. I when you took your mom's camera, she was probably an advocate for you to. You said you stole it, but she low-key probably wanted you to fuck around with it, right?
Yes and no. I want to say. I think she was still, because she's an artist, I think she still believed the struggle of an artist is hard. And I think obviously she went through that on her own. And I think she kind of wanted to shield me from that at the beginning. Like, I don't know if this is really the avenue.
Yeah.
Obviously I wasn't showing much promise. It was just me messing around with a camera. There's nothing viable there to say like, go for it. It took time for me to like, start developing what kind of work I was going to do, where I was going to head with the work. Am I good enough? Am I really putting the time to want to learn, to want to grow in this industry, essentially?
Right.
And when I started doing it part-time, it almost felt like full-time because I was grinding it out. Like I had my day job, and I was grinding it out in the nightlife clubs in DC. Like,
oh, that's where you started first?
Yeah, 4 or 5 nights a week.
Oh,
like,
shit.
Yeah, like coming back the next night to work, like dead tired. But it was like in my head, I was like, something's gonna work here. I can somewhat feel it. Like I'm getting the right opportunities. I'm talking to the right people. Something's got to click.
Right.
And eventually did.
Well, so what was the day job that you had that you eventually leave?
I was doing wealth management for a financial firm in DC.
Okay.
Yeah, completely different.
Yeah, so that's just like a desk job?
Yeah, desk job, office job. Just dealing with old guys with a lot of money and they want to make more money.
Right.
That's what I was doing.
So was the paycheck pretty decent to make it a tough choice to leave? You know what I mean? Because like you said, it's...
I always, when I've been asked that a lot by like younger photographers like that have their day jobs.
Right.
And I always tell them the hardest part for me was one, getting adjusted to, that paycheck's not coming anymore. And it's the cushion. You're like, you don't think about it because it's always there. Every 2 weeks, it's right there. So your mind doesn't think, am I going to get paid?
Right.
No, it's always there. And then once you start doing this, like you have to remember, unless you start going out, there's no money coming in.
Right.
And it was like, I'm sitting at my desk like, what do I do now? And it took me a week where I was like, you know what, I'm going to do a week to just sort of decompress from my day job. And I remember the first day I sat there and I was just staring at my computer like, what do I do now? And it was like, I emailed I was working at this club, Echostage in DC.
Okay.
And I remember like just looking at all the emails that I have from them. I just typed Echostage and I just saw the list of artists that I had been emailing back and forth. Cause since we work for the venue, we share photos with the artists that come all the time. And it's like big artists were coming in, like the biggest of EDMs are coming through.
How big was this venue?
It's about, I want to say, between 4,000 and 5,000.
Oh shit! Okay.
Right now was voted the #1 club in the U.S.
Damn.
It's massive. The production there is incredible.
And you were like in-house at that
in-house
thing?
photographer.
Fuck, that's dope.
That was my education there. Like, guys like Pete Muzzo and Antonis gave me a shot to shoot their clubs, and essentially gave me a prime education in what it is to be an EDM photographer. Because I saw the artists. I got to work with crazy, like almost festival stuff production,
right?
And I got to see the life of the touring artists. You know, the artists were coming in with their tour managers, lighting, video.
Yeah, you learned that
audio engineer. So it's like being surrounded by that. It was like, this is exactly where I'm headed in this
Holy
direction.
shit!
Yeah.
So before you started diving through your emails and seeing these artists and everything, you know, to get to the venue, what was your hustle to like get your foot in the door with those two guys you mentioned?
I always say this. My best friend, he was starting out as a DJ 10 years ago, and I was the friend with the camera always.
Right.
So he wanted some photos from one of his first big gigs he had. He was like, "Can you come in and take some photos of me?" I was like, 100%, no questions asked. Don't worry about it. I got you.
Right.
Did his show, did the photos. We posted them everywhere. I even did like a little recap video and like we posted on YouTube, which don't look it up. It's not good. And
you gotta start somewhere, bro.
Yeah. And hit those two guys that I mentioned earlier. They were the ones who owned the clubs that he was playing at, and they were like, "Hey, we have other clubs. Can you come shoot this club?" Yeah, me.
Because they saw that shit.
Yeah, because they saw the photos and were like, "Hey, can we have those? Like, we'll pay you to come shoot our other clubs."
Damn.
And that's when it hit me. I was like, "Oh, I can make money out of this."
Right.
Like, and that's how I started from this.
That is crazy, dog.
Yeah. And as they grew, like obviously they had smaller clubs. They hadn't opened Echostage yet. And their business just kept growing. And
you were right there with them.
Right there, yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
So you kind of just rolled with it. Whatever they kind of offered you, you just sent it and tried to put. So how much you were shooting shows just as much as you were doing the nightclub stuff? Because you said
so I was doing the nightclub stuff just at first,
which was like 4 or 5 nights a week.
A week, yeah.
How often were you shooting the shows? Were they?
Probably like once a week, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe once every other week, because they had other in-house photographers at the moment, like senior guys that were working with them before. So they obviously got the pick of the calendar and everything. So it was just like whenever they had a night off, I would step in and do something. But it was very rare.
The photographers.
Yeah.
So were they people that you looked up to? Like, are they known in the community? Like,
yeah, there was one that kind of mentored me in the beginning. We kind of started the same way, but he blew up a little quicker.
Right.
And he did it the right way, I always say. And he sort of brought me along and kind of taught me and like put me into to be the second guy essentially.
Right.
And then once he took a break, I became obviously the lead photographer.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Man, I love that because I mean, for me, my friends opened up a venue and I went and pitched them. I don't know why I had a camera and never thought that my camera could make me money.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, could I be like the runner? The fuck? Like, I went and got groceries one day and had to find all this vegan shit I didn't know about. And I was like, yo, can I just do something else? Like,
that's tough
I have
work.
a camera. Maybe we could do that. But that teaches you so much because you're thrown into the trenches. And,
that's true.
And you're shooting bigger shows for artists that, like you're saying, like you're paying attention to the background of like who's on the bus, what do they do, how do they affect everything.
And then like, being there so often, obviously you start becoming friends with these artists and they come back and they're like, hey, Danilo, hey, good to see you. Come hang out. Like, come to the green room, come backstage, or come to the tour bus. If they were on a tour bus at that moment, it's like you start building those relationships.
Damn.
And that's how it worked out for me.
And you said this is what were you in college?
No, this was after college.
After college.
Yeah.
So
I'm a late bloomer, I was going to say, to the business of photography. I didn't really take it into like as a business till I was around like 24, 25.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, okay, like once I saw that, I was like, oh, there is a way to make a living out of this.
Right.
How do I multiply what I'm getting paid now from this small club gig into a bigger and bigger things? And it just, for me, it was just like, I had friends that, obviously photographer friends who kind of guided me and helped me out into what to look for and things like that. And then the other half was just trial and error, just, sending out emails and getting rejected. And then, all right, maybe I'll try in 2-3 months when my portfolio is better.
Right.
And then maybe didn't get rejected the next one. It just building from there.
And then when you're talking about sending out emails, are you artist management to try to get on tours, or are you just talking about
I legit had I always tell people, the easiest ways, it's not always guaranteed, but the easiest way to find an artist contact from management is Facebook.
Yeah, they put it right there in the
right
shit.
there. And I just went to all the artists that I wanted to work with. If they had a management contact, I saved that, put the artist name, the manager's name, the contact, and I just did a Rolodex. And every day, once I would just send out this exact same email, same wording for everything.
Really?
I would just change the artist's name or the event or something like that. And I did that every day, till finally somebody replied back and was like, dope, come shoot for us.
Who was that?
That was for Tritonal, and this was, what are we, 2019? So this was around like 2008, 2009, around there.
Fuck.
Yeah. And obviously it was a local gig. They weren't
just
flying
shoot
me.
the show.
Just shoot the show.
Right.
Right. But in my head, I was like, I'm working for the artist. Like, this is what I wanted to do. And little by little, that kind of built up to more.
But that's dope, because then you kind of come in as the in-house guy for those artists that are coming to your city and shit, which I'm sure just starts growing at.
Yeah, and it's funny because as obviously the EDM scene starts blowing up, also the EDM photographer scene starts blowing up.
Crazy.
And all of a sudden artists are bringing their own photographers. But I've been there for so long, and these artists have known me for so long, that they start posting my photos. And it's like, I'm not trying to like step on anybody's toes, but it's like
they had someone with them.
They had someone with them, but it's still But I'm not sending the photos. If the Benny's sending the photos and they post it, I mean, it's what can
you do?
Yeah.
What can you do?
But I just ran with it. I was like, well, if they like it, I must be doing something right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
So what were some of your tactics as far as like being local, shooting for these artists? I even did have artists on tour with them. Yeah. But being able to try to get the content to them, was it just going back to the management?
So so when I first started, it was ran through the head of operations for the venue. Would always we would send the photos in, because they obviously do the posting on Facebook, Instagram, etc., and they would share the photos with the artists.
Oh, cool.
But then it clicked to me. I was like, I want to have that contact. Why don't I just do it?
Absolutely.
And I just asked her. Plan was like, hey, can I just send an email out? This way they have the Dropbox. They know exactly
to your contact.
To my contact.
Right.
And she would just whenever the artist management asked for anything, I was forwarded to me, CC to me, whatever it was, and then I had it right then and there.
Which is tight, because we were just also talking about before we started this. You said you listened to our morning roast topic, which was I don't even remember the fucking title. Do you remember what it was?
Should you share? I think it was sharing about the content. Like, should you hold it or?
Yeah, when is it okay to give post content? And we were just talking about back in the day you used to send it, but that was actually the proper channels of how you should go about getting a contact. You know what I mean? If they give you the blessing, that's the illest shit. You know what I mean?
And this is what I always say that I always plug them. I was like, the people at Echostage gave me that, like I say, prime education, how to handle the business of photography from that point of view. And it didn't hit me till much later, where once I saw my career kind of taking off, and I was doing the goals that I wanted, I was actually doing everything, and it hit me. I was like, wow, yeah, I was doing this before anyways. I was doing this at Echostage, I was doing this at these other clubs, and it never hit me then, but it hit me obviously once I started doing everything.
Was it mainly EDM that you were shooting?
Yeah, mainly EDM. Yeah, it was almost 100% EDM.
Wow.
Yeah, just DJs, everything. Yeah.
Is that what you grew up on music-wise? That just what you got into?
Yes and no. I always say my musical taste is based around my sister, and she was into dance music way early on.
Right.
I remember she had the Ibiza remixes from 2001, and me listening to that and gravitating to that kind of music. Actually, even before that, when she was in high school, and I was, because we're 7 years apart.
Okay.
I was maybe 8, 9, and she had all these Pump Up the Jam remixes, and it was, you don't think about it, but that was dance music back then.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I gravitated to that, but as with your friends, I was into hip hop, rap, everything. Obviously had my rock phase in high school and college, so yeah.
Damn, bro, that's fucking crazy. That's a real hustle though.
Yeah.
And you start doing the shows. This is after you quit your job?
After. But no, I was still doing this. I was doing the shows while I still had my day job.
So at what point did you feel safe enough to be all right, cool, I've figured out that this is, I could kind of make the same or close, you know what I mean?
I don't, it wasn't safe at all.
It wasn't safe.
There was, I should not have quit.
Right.
Yeah. It was a tough first 6 months.
Damn.
It's grinding it out with nothing. But what did it for me was I got offered a tour.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it because I couldn't take time off of work. And I was like, it just is what it is. No big deal. And then the tour rolled around, and I was just started seeing all the posting, and it was just eating me. I was like,
You're just like,
I had it. Like, it was right there.
Who was it for? Was it for an artist that
I don't want to say what it was.
All right, bet.
Yeah. But it hit me. You know, it was like,
you realized.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, maybe this is what I should do. And then just went to my boss. I was like, all right, I think this is time. Like, my mind isn't concentrating on what I need to be concentrating here. Like, the moment that happens, you got to move on, you know.
Did that job embrace you? Leaving?
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah. I mean, I was doing really well. I mean, I won awards.
Yeah.
Which sounds dumb that I think about. I won an award just for making other people money, but
I mean,
is what it is.
Yeah, they want to keep fucking give you that back massage. You keep doing that shit over and over again.
So, that's why, like, to me, I was like, you just have to do it. To me, that's how I saw it. I was like, if you don't do this now, you're never gonna do it. If you don't take the chance now, you're gonna get too comfortable.
Absolutely.
And I think there's something in it, that in the struggle of not having anything and having to start from zero. And yes, I did have my home venue. I did have other clients in DC as I was growing as a photographer, but that's not where I wanted to go. I wanted to go the touring route. I want to go the artist route. Yeah. And I had nothing at that point. And it was just me sitting there like, how am I going to pay my rent? How am I going to pay anything? You know, just grinding it out. What
were some of the jobs you were doing in between time? Was it just back to club shit and trying to get the checks that way?
Yeah, I was just doing the clubs. I was doing like DC is at that time was emerging musically wise. Like a lot of artists. There's a lot of artists that have come out from DC. Even obviously hip hop, Logic, the Wale's, all that stuff.
Right.
But EDM wise, that most people didn't realize. Who's like from? Carnage.
Really?
He's from Maryland. You know.
Actually, I think I did know that from some shit. Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, you had guys like Deep Dish, Grammy Award winning guys are from Washington D.C., Virginia, dope. Maryland.
I mean, D.C. is so fucking huge. It's like I'd hope,
but people think of it as it's like small city that nothing happens there, and it's like no, it's like this nightlife and music scene was growing. Venues were opening. You had 930 Club, which is a legendary venue for rock. Echostage opens, and because of those two, like the EDM scene just sort of blows and it goes crazy in D.C. and the smaller clubs are booking big artists.
Right.
The medium clubs are booking big. Like everyone was just wanted a little part of it.
Right.
And I had the gigs mainly because obviously I had been doing it for such a long time in DC. Yeah. My name was known and trusted is what I would say.
Right.
So I could easily get gigs, but it's like in my head I was like, you're making minimum wage essentially.
Right.
Like, the time that you're putting in, there's no real return in that level. There's always a cap. It's a small market. It's it's not in New York where you can, the fees almost triple just because it's New York.
Right.
So it's like, okay, there's another side to this. How do I get to this other side? Mm-hmm. How do I make this a real business? How do I make this into a real career? And
so then when you quit the job, you start hustling and still doing the shows or whatever, but you start thinking like that. What was the first it happened? You know what I mean? Like, or it's starting to happen, you know what I mean?
For me, it was the festival circuit.
Okay.
In 2013, I did my first festival for Electric Zoo. They were the first ones to give me a shot to be part of their photo team.
Oh, dope.
And once I saw that in that moment, obviously all these festivals were just appearing out of nowhere.
Right.
SFX was buying every festival brand possible at that moment. And from that relationship that I had with that photo team, I started to realize, hey, these photo teams are here and in these other festivals. And little by little, I just kind of got friendly with all of them and started getting invites to go to other festivals. And I was doing that festival circuit hard. I mean, like almost 20 to 30 festivals a year.
God damn.
Yeah.
Fuck.
It was hard.
Where was the first one at?
Electric Zoo, which is in New York.
It's in New York.
Yeah. It's actually happening this weekend right now.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
You're like, nah, I'm good.
I wanted to so bad.
Really?
I wanted to go, but I needed to be home. I was
like,
because it's about to get crazy. So I need to spend some time at home.
So how did you get a hold of them for the first one? Was it just cold emails?
No. So the head of photography for the festival at that time knew one of my good friends, and my friend was already in the team and recommended me.
Oh, that's dope.
And it was like, hey, I have this guy, from DC from me, like it's only, a train ride away. So it's a cheap, it's travel is cheap, all that stuff. And they took a shot at me.
That's crazy.
But I had been working towards getting that shot. Like I had making sure my portfolios were
fit that vibe too.
Yeah, exactly. And that's little by little. It's like, that was the first, that was 2013. 2014, I did, I think, 3 festivals. So I went from 1 to 3. 2015, I went from 3 to, I think, 8 or 9, something like that. And then the next year blew up. The next year I did 20 festivals. And then the next year was like 25 festivals. And then, yeah.
So for people who don't understand, you're basically getting hired by the festival themselves to come out and get content of like every artist, or maybe they split. You know, how does it usually typically work for a show?
It's essentially the same way. You know,
are you allowed to shoot whoever, or is it kind of like you're targeting, your job is to hit this stage and cover these artists?
So I think at the beginning it was mainly, I think, you know, all these marketing directors and social media directors, they're all trying to figure it out just as much as we're trying to figure it out. So at the beginning it was like, you're assigned to stage A, B, C, or D. And then that slowly merges into, we have a shot list. We need sponsors. We need this. We need.
Right.
And it becomes a real job.
Right.
You have a job to do. Like you got to hit this whole list. You got to hit everything.
Right.
And the one that did it for me was 2015. This company called Red Frog had 2 festivals, which was Shamrock Fest in DC and Firefly Music Festival. Firefly is huge.
Right.
One of the biggest, if not the biggest, in the East Coast.
Damn.
And I reached out to shoot Shamrock Fest. I had a strategy. I was like, I'm gonna email about the smaller festival, because there's obviously I'm not gonna get into the bigger festival because they don't know who I am.
Makes
but
sense.
I'm in DC. I'm local. They only have to pay my fee. They don't have to pay my travel. They don't have to. The expenses that they would have had to pay had they hired somebody else would have been astronomical.
Is it DC is just a train ride, right?
Yeah. I mean,
a car
a car ride. It's like 10-minute ride into DC. And they came back and they're like, yeah, we'll hire you. We're like, what you do and everything. And my strategy was like, I'm going to go in. I'm going to crush this festival. Like, they've never seen it. So when the time comes for me to email about Firefly, they're going to come back to me like, this guy did this so much for us for this festival. It's a no-brainer to bring him back.
Right.
And that's exactly how it worked.
Damn.
And then the first time I came in, my first year was just me and like they didn't have a photo team. It was just random photographers. There was like, I think they had like 6 or 7 Getty guys on the staff. One local guy from like the Delaware, Philly, Jersey area, and myself. So the content they were getting was just
the typical
artists, nothing. And they were like, hey, if we give you a shot list, can you take care of this? I was like, easy. I was already doing that. I was like, easy. I went in and I think by myself, I knocked out 90% of that shot list.
God damn.
And the next year they were like, this is your team. Like, this is yours. Hire who you want to hire.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And then I brought all my homies in.
So is there a title for that? Is that like...
Lead photographer.
Lead photographer?
Yeah, for Firefly Music Festival.
So is that typical that most of these festivals would have like a lead photographer?
Yeah.
Oh,
always,
okay.
Yeah. And now, I think... I mean, there's a few photo teams now that run a lot of the festivals.
Right.
Like, Live Coverage is the big one. I used to be a member of Live Coverage as well.
Okay.
And that's the way it is. You know, there's the crew and the teams, but there's always a point lead now.
Right.
And I think it's just better because management wise, as to like what's getting done, like who's assigned to what.
Right.
And it just manages the content better.
That's super interesting. I never really knew that. Every time I'm at a festival, it's with an artist, so I never really... So, damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's a few years of like back-to-back, but you could feel it.
Yeah.
You knew it was working.
Yeah. I knew I was in the right track. I think, for me, is like when I go into something, I want to go into and put all my effort in, no half-assing anything.
Yeah.
And to me, it was like, this is the world I'm in, the festival world. I have to go in and shoot everything and shoot as best as I can and be a part of a team. And also, you got to be a team player.
Right.
And be able to rely on others just as much as others are relying on you to do the work.
Right.
Yeah.
What were you shooting on at those festivals? Did you do like multiple cameras, or were you just sticking with the one?
Oh, I always do 2 cameras.
Yeah.
Strap, 2 cameras, several lenses, lens pouch, everything.
Right.
Obviously, that turned into like the backpack because the lens pouch is like,
Yeah,
it's a hassle sometimes.
Yeah.
Like you're going into crowds and you never know who's gonna try to reach in. It's like, you know what? Let me put it in my backpack.
Right.
And safer.
So how did you kind of transition from? I mean, it's that over and over and again. You're back to back for years.
Yeah.
Did it switch to working for an artist directly before that, or did you start branded shit from that?
I started, because I was at so many festivals and obviously so many EDM festivals, I started seeing the artists knew me from Echostage.
Absolutely.
And all of a sudden they start seeing me in New York. They start seeing me in California and Miami, all these other cities. They're like, oh, hey, like, great, you're shooting our show? Amazing, stay right here. This is our tour manager. Here's a pirate list, and it's like, thank you.
Yeah,
you're helping me out.
Yeah, exactly.
And obviously, like, you start building those relationships. And one of those relationships was Chainsmokers.
Oh shit! So that's the
Yeah.
first artist you worked with.
Yeah.
I mean,
no,
like-
not the first one artist, but it was like that was how I, when I met them, I just took that approach. I was like, they knew me from DC. They had come to Echostage and knew me
Yeah.
from DC. Actually, they even knew me before Echostage. It was a tiny club, like
Damn.
250 people club, like super tiny. It was a
Fuck.
rager, but it was like
Right.
you know,
It was still small shit.
yeah, and that's exactly what I did with them. It's when I met them, obviously, we weren't friends, but
Right.
they knew me. Their management knew me. I saw them at a festival that had a media blackout, no outside, no artist photographers, only in house. And I was assigned to their stage. The manager came, was like, "Hey, like, could you get us some fire photos?" I was like, "Done. Don't worry about it. I got
Yeah.
you." The set got cut in half because there was a thunderstorm coming, so the festival got closed. But it was the most fire 30 minutes ever.
Really?
And I had 3 photos that they wanted, and I had them. It happened within the first 30 minutes. I just, I don't want to say it was lucky, but I got lucky.
Right.
know? And because the festival shut down, I had time to go back, edit super quick. I come out of the trailer after the rain is done, and they're standing right there, right outside the trailer. I just went up to them. I was like, "I have your photos right here if you're ready."
Yeah.
And they were just like, "Now?" I was
Like that quick?
Let's go right now. And their management were like, obviously they were just like, "Wow, like what is happening here?"
Who the fuck are you?
Right. And they loved the photos, everything, and then got their contacts, and I just legit pestered him to hire me for a tour for like the next few months. I was just like, "You need to hire me for a tour. I want
Right.
to hire you. I want to be your tour photographer." And they had somebody at that time who was doing video and photo together.
Right.
And I was like, "Let him do video. I'll come in and do photo."
Right.
Or let me just come in and do photo, whatever the case is. And finally, they gave me a shot. Like
Damn.
a few months after that.
So did it happen like that, where he started doing video and you were doing photos?
No,
Or
I think he took a break, and
Oh, right.
yeah, and then they just brought me in to like do like weekends and the big one-off shows
Right.
for like a while.
That is crazy,
Yeah.
bro. Well, how big were they when you shot that festival? When you gave them the photos at that point?
So they were getting there. They were getting traction.
Yeah.
It was right when Roses was coming out. So Roses was like their first big major hit.
Big one?
Yeah.
Damn.
And I mean, they had a huge crowd at
Yeah.
that festival. It was, it was a New York festival, so it was like obviously they were New York kids, so
Right.
hometown crowd. But I mean, it was massive.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you do get, you passed him enough that he offers you the job? Or
Yeah,
what?
yeah. So yeah, he called me like after emailing him so many times.
It's like, yo,
He
stop.
he finally was like, I was like, all right, man, like let's just do this now. Like, are you available for this weekend? And actually I wasn't available, but I was like, yes, I'm available. And
What, you had another job?
yeah, I had another job,
Shit.
and then I had to like switch with another friend of mine. Thankfully, like they covered for me. But I was
Right.
like, there's no way I'm saying no. After so many times that I've just
Yeah.
been emailing,
Begging
there's no way
for
I'm-
it.
Yeah, I'm not saying no.
Damn.
And we just went for it. It just sort of clicked.
So then from that, it went from like weekends and one-offs to the first tour that you,
So the first real tour I did with them was South America 2017. And at this time, 2016 and 2015, I had already been doing like the one-offs and
over 2 years,
yeah,
of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Damn.
But it wasn't like a lot of shows. It was like maybe like 5-6 shows a year, maybe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it wasn't a lot because they had a videographer at the time, and this was when video was like blowing up. So
Right.
that was the content that was getting the views rather than photos.
Hmm.
And obviously, as their careers growing, they're able to afford to bring more people,
Right.
actually start, have their content team. And that's when I was brought on, and I wasn't offered. They had an arena tour coming, and again, like I said, like my strategy was, I had a strategy already of how I wanted that arena tour.
Right.
I knew it was gonna come. I've heard it, and they had 3 shows. One was Red Rocks. Mm-hmm. That was their first big show. Like, can they sell out Red Rocks?
Right.
Obviously, they sell out Red Rocks.
Yeah.
It's like 10,000 people. I think
Right.
what Red Rocks is. Then that morphed into 2 shows where it was like those mini festivals where it's like obviously the artists were putting it on, and they bring in 3 different support acts.
Yeah.
And it was at 2 arenas, one in Nashville and one in Charlotte. And it was proper arenas, 10 to 15,000.
This is Chainsmokers event.
Chainsmoker, right. And
It's their own festival.
it's their own festival.
What are
It's
they
their
called?
own show. It was called Dreaming.
Okay.
And it was held over Halloween weekend. And in my head, I was like, I want to come in and show them that this is what they're going to get from me. They have their careers are going here. They're not going the club route. They're going
Right.
the arena route.
Right.
It's obvious.
Yeah,
you could
you
see
know.
it. So in my head, I was like, I could see it myself. I want to show them that we're my value
Right.
for their brand, for their looks, for their content. And that's how it worked out. I just went in, crushed the photos. And when South America came, crushed those. And I knew the arena tour was about to be announced and all that stuff, and I just was like, guys, remember all of this stuff.
Yeah.
I want to be in for this one. And the first reply back, I was like, we don't know, we'll check, we'll get back to you.
Yeah.
And I was at another festival when I was doing this. I was like, bummed. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I thought I did everything right. And then obviously like about a week or two later, they were like, here's your schedule, lock all of this in. I was like, unreal. I was like, wow, okay, here we go.
So were you the only photographer? Was it a dual team or was this like a media team now?
Media team. Like we had video and photo, and then video kind of switched. They had 2 video guys.
Oh, okay, got you.
Yeah.
Damn, that's fucking wild. So then what was some of the strategy that you took when, you're like, I know how I want to accomplish, like how to do these shows. It's Halloween. Like you're creating like your own shot list in your head. Like what was your approach to like dialing in a look for them to kind of show like, yo, your aesthetic should be like this. What the fuck is happening outside this office right now? There's like a fucking dump truck out there just screaming.
So for me, I looked at artist photography one way. We just always artist, phase, behind the DJ booth. You saw those shots 1,000 times.
Right.
I went in and what I wanted to do was shoot it like a festival. Show the production.
Right.
There's a lot of money being put into this production.
Hell yeah.
Show it off.
Right.
Get into the crowd. Get the eye view of the kids going crazy. Hands up, everything. And get every pyro shot. Get every flame possible. Obviously do the artist shots and get the fire shots for those as well. But to me, it was like...
That's the no-brainer shit.
Right. That's the no-brainer. I can do that with my eyes closed.
Right.
But the other stuff, where it's like you got to really concentrate and go here and go there. And it's like you got to run. You got to haul ass to get to point A to point B. Be mindful of the time, the set time, that there's certain songs coming. There's certain moments for certain songs.
Right.
And to me, I was like, I want them to see the effort. There's kids, I would watch them come to Echostage and they just hang out in the DJ booth and play with their cameras. And it's like... it's like there's a whole show happening out there.
Right.
Like one of my first mentors, who's not a photographer, who gave me one of my first shots at Echostage, legit told me, get away from the DJ booth. The best view is from front of house. And at that time, I was like, it was my first, like one of my first shows. I was like, all right, cool. And obviously, he was right. There's a show happening.
Yeah.
It's not just like, and these artists are putting on a show. They want to see that. They spend this money.
Yeah.
Show me where my money is being spent. And I wanted that show to look like what it was worth.
Damn.
You spend $10 million. I want the photos to show that this was a $10 million show or whatever it was.
Right.
And that was my approach to shooting that show.
It's so smart, man. I feel like it's such a bummer when you see, I think a lot of people think that if they're the photographer, that's the key to just being able to be cool on stage.
Yeah.
Get out there and get that whole, like, someone get a photo of me on stage. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, that's not the point. You know what I mean?
You're being hired for a job.
Maybe if you're the homie.
Maybe, yeah.
You're the homie that happens to shoot regularly. You know what I mean? But
I can see that, yeah.
I totally appreciate that wisdom from your mentor or whatever, because it's so crucial to cover all of the grounds, you know what I mean? And you have some crazy ass fucking shots. Like, I posted a couple of them, and it's more recent stuff, but it's just like the way you're capturing stages, action, fireworks, pyro, like all that stuff's gold to work with, obviously. And EDM stages are fucking crazy at festivals.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know if you have a lens wide enough to capture some of those stages sometimes. You know what I mean?
There's been two stages that I was like, well, this, no matter how wide this is, I'm not going to get the whole thing unless I'm, 300 yards way back.
Right.
And then at the moment, it doesn't really matter.
It kind of looks like whatever.
Yeah. There's only been two stages that I was like, geez, this is going to be tough. But whatever, we'll make it work.
So you do the first tour.
Yeah.
Crush that shit too.
Crushed, yeah.
And it's just you doing photos and you have a video crew.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So
and we had another photographer at the time that him and I would switch off tours.
Okay.
And we all, like, what I love about our team is that we all work together. Like if it's his turn to shoot this tour, do your thing, man. Good luck.
Right.
Go crush it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go do something else, and vice versa. But right after that tour, I was just like, I want more. I want Asia. I want Europe. I want anything that you're going. I want to do it.
Right.
And obviously I had to switch off and things like that, and we still do that from time to time. But now I'm like, it's becoming more and more and more.
You're just always there.
Yeah.
How much exposure do you get to the artists? Because I know that you're catching them on their rise. It's not like they from what I've seen from anyone that, because I feel like a lot of people work with the Chainsmokers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of UC Bari, Kramer, all these people like have been in it video wise.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on a dude's name that always uses like the monopod in the back. What's that guy's name? I don't know if he works with them directly, but I don't know. There's a bunch of different people that work with them.
Yeah, we have like Jeremiah.
Yeah.
That one Blanken.
Yeah.
We have a new kid, Spencer, who's a beast. He's 20. I think he's 21.
Doing video?
Doing a video, yeah.
Right.
He's crazy.
Yeah.
And then myself and Olaf.
Okay,
our,
right.
Our do photo.
Got it.
Yeah.
So how much interaction are you having with the artists? Like, it looks like they like to do shit, which is the best scenario possible. Yeah. Right?
I have the best guys. Yeah. I swear. Like, yes, you know, from time to time they want to sleep, they want to get their rest. Right. But they understand it. They understand what type of content works. Right. They understand that we need to go out and do stuff. Right. Let's, you know, make it interesting, not just the same boring old shots. Like, yeah, the show photos are great, but it gets boring, it's tiring. Like, you need new stuff. Lifestyle shit. Lifestyle's golden. It is. And yeah, I love that they understand it and they love to do that. I feel like they're literally the perfect subject because they always look like they're going extra hard for life living. You know what I mean? Just to go live life. Like, you know what I mean? You always see it. They're on boats here in fucking dope blue water shit. And like, you know what I mean? Just that blue ass water. The blue ass water. You've seen that video. What are some of the best memories from like getting to get your start? Especially coming from the idea of like, you just hustle. I mean, festival runs, like what you did. Yeah. It's straight hustle. Like, you're probably dead ass exhausted and you get done with the run. It's not like it's not 12-hour days. It's almost like 16 to 18-hour days. It's not glorious. It's fucking hard as shit. Yeah. And then you switch to this, which this is again, you're on call 24 hours a day basically. Yeah. But at the same time, you get to have a little bit more experience. You're starting to see the world. Yeah. What was that like merging into that? I mean, it was fun. Obviously, I've seen the world. Yeah. They've taken me essentially everywhere. Yeah. Insane hotels, insane planes. Like, the shows are incredible. The locations are unreal. Get to vacation in Ibiza and Mykonos, you know. So sick. Which is incredible. You know, I always make the joke whenever I do posts on Instagram. We're like, oh, what's up, guys? We're going on the private jet to Mykonos. Right. I'm shouting out to my sponsors, the Chainsmokers. You know, always tag your sponsors. Tag your sponsors. So I always make that joke. But yeah, I mean, I'm grateful for that, man. They've shown me the world, essentially. Right. Yeah. What do your family think about it? They love it. It's crazy, right? Yeah. At the beginning, obviously, they were just like, who are these artists? Right. Like, DJs? What DJs? And then obviously, like, all these DJs start blowing up. And they start winning Grammys. They start, you know, they're on magazines, Billboard this, Billboard that. And that's what resonated with my parents. There was two things that resonated with them. There was an article on Billboard, and obviously everybody knows Billboard. Right. And they were like, it wasn't Billboard Dance or Billboard whatever. It was a Billboard. They're like, oh wait, we know this. Right. Like, they're on this thing that we know. Yeah. And the second thing was I think it was one of these like celebrity shows like Entertainment Tonight or something like that. And they were just like Chainsmokers. My mom was like blowing me up. She was like, they're on TV. I see them on TV. And I was like, that's the selling point. I was like, I know. I've been telling you. We just did 100,000 people last night, which is pretty crazy. Yeah. And I think that's what it clicked to them. They were like, oh wait, like, he's actually doing something serious. Like, shit. What they said, like, if you're gonna go in it, you gotta go with everything. Facts. It hit them. There was like I finally got there. Have you had a chance to bring them to shows? Not yet, but really? No, because we did a DC show, but it was like quick in and out. Like, we were in Vegas, arrived in DC, left DC straight to Vegas, and it was like didn't have much time for that. But they are coming out. We have a show in DC in October 20th, I want to say. Nice. And obviously, family, friends are all coming out because especially now that I moved out, like from DC, like everybody wants to like come out. That's gonna be a party. Yeah. That's crazy. I'm excited for that one because they've never seen me work. Right. You know, and it'll be kind of cool to see like what they think of that. Yeah. Like their reaction. I want to see what their reaction is gonna be. It'll like instantly make the most sense to them that night. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was like the same thing for me, like being able to on tour. Like, my family was all spread out throughout the U.S. So like being able to bring my sister, bring my brother, they're just watching you up, like shooting on stage or doing whatever, and you're just like, what the fuck? My sister has seen it. She's my biggest fan. Yeah. She always says like she's my biggest. Anything I post, she reposts right away. Right. Anything that I have going on, she's reposting, sharing, Facebook. She's like number one. She's fucking street team. And she's come to a few shows. That's dope. And she's seen it. Like, she's like always gets a little teary eye. Man, it's crazy though. I mean, it's like literally such. I don't know. I feel like the EDM culture of creators that work for these. I mean, obviously there's so many artists, so there's so many creators, and you hear about them all the time. You see all their shit, and it's like everyone's exposed to something wild. Like, if you get into that circuit
and you're able to work with these people, look at like the opportunity that brings to you.
Yeah.
But also it's the new looks you get to shoot. Like Ibiza and just straight chilling. You got the boys and you guys are you can go do whatever. Yo, stand in that water right there and do some cool shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's
essentially how I do it. I was like, go there. It looks really good right there. Put your arm up there.
Right.
We're going to create some fire now.
Yeah.
Show the sexy.
Yeah,
you've been working out. Show the sexy. Let's go.
Start sending it to Calvin Klein. Like, hey, I set this up. I need that bag. When did you start working with brands? Like, was that coming through the artist stuff? Hey everybody, I wanted to stop this episode real quick to tell you about our Patreon page. If you join us on Patreon, you will be financially supporting Black with No Cream. So if you fuck with this podcast, if you fuck with the morning roast episodes that we do on Wednesdays, if you fuck with the private creator community, highly consider signing up for this Patreon page. Helps us keep the lights on. When you sign up, you get access to our private Discord channel. You get private access to the bonus morning roast episode that we do every month. Live streams that we do every month. We do 2 every single month. You get your work reviewed and everything on the live stream. Tons and tons of perks when you sign up. So definitely take a look at it. Patreon.com/blackwithnocream. It has every single thing listed out there. We appreciate your guys' consideration for that. And let's get back to this episode.
No, my first brands that I worked with were in DC. Like they were just DC based brands that I did, and obviously it wasn't anything big, but I got to get that experience in. And the first one I got was Tommy Hilfiger, which obviously I got the connection from Chainsmokers because they had a deal with them, and they had me do a couple of things for them, which was amazing because I got to shoot like some shows with like Gigi Hadid and Bella Hadid and Lewis Hamilton, and it was like I love Lewis Hamilton, and he was just like standing right where you at. I'm just trying to pretend that he's not there. Like, what's up, dog?
Yeah,
like, we're good. Don't worry about it. But inside, I'm like shaking. You know,
just full of camera.
And that's how kind of it piqued my interest to be like, okay, one, like you said, the bag was huge.
Yeah,
those corporate gigs and
dumb money.
I have yet to find a client in that world that says no to a budget, which makes me think I'm not charging enough. And I'm like, I'll charge more the next time. Like, let's try this. How much for this?
Yeah, every time,
like,
right?
Great. I'm going to up it the next time.
Bro, we just spent fucking weeks like creating a guide of how to charge a client guide. Like, because people ask that question all the time. And now I'm curious to hear like how you go about it. Because it's like, I think a lot of people shoot themselves in the foot when they throw out their number real quick without like assessing a situation.
Yeah, to me, I like to assess things. I came from that financial world where we have to assess every possibility. You have to assess the hours, and not just the work hours. We're talking the hours right after the work, because that's still work. You know, editing,
traveling, fucking all the extra work that goes in with all that.
Yeah. You know, like
revisions.
Revisions. That's a funny one. It's like, God, these are great. Can we fix this?
Yeah, can we change this to black and white? Nah, we like color. Nah.
Yeah. I recently had that with an artist who asked for black and white, delivered black and white, and then proceeded to be like, can we get this one in color? I'm like, all right, no problem, that's one. And then it's like, throughout the week, can we get this one in color? I was like, guys, just pick. Can I just give it to you all in color?
I'll give you both.
Yeah, it's just like, all right, just tell me what you want. It's like, yeah.
The easy fix for that is just shoot in camera black and white. Like, sorry, have someone paint over this shit. Like, it's so brutal. So then when did, Chainsmokers starts popping off? You're doing the tours. Sometimes you're not on the tours. Yeah. Is that when you started introducing yourself to other artists?
Yeah, and obviously because I am very self-aware that I am where I am because of the boys. They put my name on. They gave me these crazy opportunities to be able to shoot these insane shows, and just like my following base is based on their fans, the work that comes after it's also like word of mouth because of them.
Right.
And that's always I'm super grateful for them. I am where I am now. Yes, I grinded. Yes, I have the work ethic, but they really did put me on. They really did give me the opportunity to be like, and they were never like, if I was doing something else, they've never told me no. If I've come to them like, hey, like this artist asked me to come tour, like, is it cool? And they're like, dude, go do it. Like, go get it, and it's amazing.
Yeah. I feel like that's the relationship you want, especially in that world where they're going to be busy no matter what. Yeah. Like, and the cool part is that you guys have designed a team, you know what I mean? Which is non-competitive teams.
I love it. It's like we have this thing with, we've been joking about it, I think, for the past year and a half, and now it's become a thing. Like I've seen like their fans tagging us where it's like we say like hashtag team content. We're out here, team content is here, blah, blah, blah. And then we'll get tagged, like some kid will draw like our faces or something, and it's like, yo, team content is here. It's
like superheroes.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Which is like, I love that about our team, that no one's too good for anything. Like if Jeremiah says, "Hey man, can I use your photos to use it on the video, break off like certain clips?" I'm like, "Go for it.
Yeah.
Here's a Dropbox. Go
Right.
for it." And it's like I love that we all share the same goal. Like we
Right.
all want to create the best content for the boys, and no one's here has an ego. No one here is bigger than anybody else. We're all
Right.
here just working for the same thing.
Man.
Yeah.
Do you, before we talk about you're going forward with other jobs, what were those tours like? Are the most of them, when you're doing like US, Europe, all that shit, are you guys in buses or are they just flying everywhere?
No, buses. So the arena tour is a bus.
Yeah.
Like when we do like Europe, that's a plane, obviously. Asia as well. Just because it makes it easier when it's a big crew to make sure that everyone arrives
Gets
at the
there.
time
Yeah.
that they need to arrive, and the gear arrives.
Which I think people don't realize that's a majority of the times why they fly private.
Yeah, yeah.
Like because the time frame is so demanding,
Yeah.
especially if it's festivals. It's like
Yeah.
you have to be at that shit.
Yeah.
Like
It's funny. Yeah, Adam said this where there's been times where he's like, "Hey man, like I'm not on the jet because our audio engineer needed to get to that place.
Yeah.
It was more important for him to get to that jet." And I was like, "That's such a key thing that most people don't know."
No.
They're like, "Oh yeah, you're in private jets." Like, yeah, but it's not for like shits and giggles.
Right.
There's a specific purpose for it.
Right.
Get everybody to point A to point B on time. Get the shows right, because our crew lands and the crew's not going to a hotel. Crew is going straight to the
Straight to
show,
that shit.
build that stage,
Right.
sound check, all that stuff. We get to have fun. We get to do like the cool stuff. But
Right.
it's like, dude, they put in crazy work.
the crew goes so ham, people.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so underrated, bro.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
shit. How big is your guys' squad then?
Our normal touring crew, I think like 14, 15
For production.
for production. Yeah, it's
Right.
like production manager, stage manager,
Yeah, yeah,
lighting,
yeah.
video, engineer, everything. Yeah,
And everyone flies together?
everyone flies together.
That's sick.
Yeah, yeah.
Man, that's fucking
There's
dope.
very rare that myself and the video won't be in the jet. It's super rare, but
Right.
there's usually room for us.
Well, and it's priority. Like the content is so priority. If
Yeah, I think. There's been a few times where it's like we need the crew to get there. Like we have no time. They need to get there now.
yeah,
There's no room. You guys will take a flight, which is
Right.
cool. Like we'll get there for the. Our
it's kind of a day off.
yeah,
It kind of becomes a day off.
but we still whenever we land, we still go straight to the venue to make sure like if they're doing sound check that we're there for sound check,
Right.
regardless. Like yeah,
Damn, shit is wild, huh?
yeah.
It's dope.
Crazy schedule sometimes.
It is. When you so when you started like working with other artists, who was like the next artist that you kind of find yourself working
The
pretty
first one,
consistently?
so
Steve?
no, it was Nicky Romero.
Okay.
Yeah, I met him. I was on a Asia tour with the Chainsmokers,
Mm-hmm.
and they were doing the same festival together. And I just kind of snuck away. There was, I can't remember, I think Martin Garrix was playing. And I was like, oh, I want to see his set from side of the stage. He's a buddy of the guy, so we see him a lot. And Nicky was right there, and he was like, hey, like, you're Danilo. Like, I know you. I like your work. I follow you on Instagram. I was like, hey, I know you. I follow
Yeah.
you on Instagram.
Right.
And we're just talking about photography, and like a week later, he was like, "Hey, I have a Asia tour." Like I'd just come back from Asia, and he was like, "I have an Asia tour next week," or I think it was like 2 weeks. He was like, "You want to do it?" I was like, "Yeah, sick. Let's go. Let's
Fuck
go
it.
back to Asia."
Jesus.
And yeah, that's how it started with him, and then from that went to Steve Aoki. From that went to Zedd and Florida Georgia Line and some other acts that I do.
It's so crazy how I feel like it's like you guys are all being used by the same, like, you know what I mean? There's all these like top artists and they're all having you guys collaborate like with them.
Yeah,
which is dope.
Which is kind of cool. Like, you start to develop these relationships with these other guys, and it becomes like a family. Even though you're not a team, you're
Right.
not like you look out for each other.
Yeah.
You know? It's like you know what to expect. No one's like stepping on anybody's toes.
Right.
No one's undercutting anybody. Everybody gets to eat.
Right, totally.
Yeah.
Was it? So have you ever worked with Carnage?
Never worked for
That's
Carnage.
kinda weird.
Yeah. I know. I was
Do you like his shit?
Yeah, I love his shit. I mean, he's from DC. Like,
Right.
Even if it was garbage, he's from DC. I would still rep it.
Yeah, right.
I'm a DC guy.
That's
so,
interesting. I feel like you guys got to do something together. His shows are always
Yeah, it'd be
wild.
dope. Yeah. I mean, he's crazy.
Who's his main? I know Yoder was doing all his video shit for a long time in photos.
I think he's using Bryant right now. I think
okay.
is, his name.
Bryant, the Instagram Bryant?
No, not that. Not Bryant.
Okay.
He goes by like BRX.
Oh, okay. Word.
VN,
No.
something like that. I can't remember how.
I was like the Vine kid. The
No, not that. Yeah, not
shoots
him,
all
not
those
him.
popular people.
Yeah, not him. Yeah, but yeah, no, we've never done anything.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Damn, it's so wild. It's like such a. It's just it's a cool for me doing hip hop shit mainly. It's like a fucking entirely different culture of photography.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which I would love to do that shit sometime. I've never even had.
I've been offered a few hip hop tours, but it becomes weird and never ends up working out. I don't even know why. Like I've been offered like some artists, and the meetings I've had have always been like, can you shoot film? I'm like, sure.
Right.
I got it. Can you shoot this? I'm like, yeah, no problem. And then last minute, it's like, his homie's going to shoot it. I'm like, all right, cool.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like the budgets are probably, I would hope, a little bit bigger in the EDM space. But I guess you don't really know because you never really shot the shit. Yeah. It's just interesting because I feel like in the hip hop world, it's like, no one ever really wants to spend money. I think this is kind of common. Like a lot of artists don't really ever budget for this shit. But at the same time, this is the stuff that like sells you know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, you're using it to promote everything else. You know, like I've had photos that we've shot like a year ago that's promoting like other tours, you know. Like I've seen the artists use some other photos. I've even seen festivals use photos that I've shot like 4 or 5 years ago, still use that same photo to promote whatever festival is coming up. Damn.
Yeah.
It means that shit was fire.
Yeah.
Do you hit those people up to try to fucking get some money out of them or not?
No. No, we worked it out already. I already gotten paid. Like I'd rather keep the relationship than just pester for just one post. Like, it's not worth it for me.
How do you kind of define that? Do you give artists the rights of your photos, or is it like a split where it's like
mostly it's 50-50. It's very rare that anyone asks for full rights, but full rights comes with a higher price. You know, that's a different conversation we got to have. Right. But it's very rare that it's always share rights.
You heard Dusty's interview and the situation that he ran into with what the fuck's that dude's name? He did the Harlem Shake remix.
Oh Bauer.
And he like had that whole thing happen where they used his photo in like Rolling Stone. He had to like actually go after him for it.
I've had to do that before, not with the artists I work for, with other artists that, you know, somehow they got a hold of a photo I taken of them and they wanted to use it. I mean, I had one put it on packaging for a product he was selling. Wow. And I didn't even know it till I walked into Best Buy and I was like, what is that?
Yo, that's my motherfucking photo, bro.
Yeah, I almost ripped the box open. I was like, what else is in here? I need to say, I'm not buying this product. I just want to know what else is in here.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And then
how did you handle that?
Just nice little letter and be like, hey guys, like, you using this without permission. To be honest, it's scary, but having an attorney handle that, it's, to me, the number one way to really get your money. Yes, it can be expensive sometimes, but it's the principle of the matter sometimes. And it's like, they're going to come at you super hard if you don't have the right knowledge, if you don't have the right wording, if you don't have the right whatever. You know, they're going to come at you. It's best from the get-go, have somebody who's going to help you out in this.
I love that.
Because to me, it's like, I'm not an attorney. I'm what am I going to say? Like, yo, you stole from me, get me paid. And they're gonna come back with me, right? And it hits harder when they see the importance of somebody else. Right. There's a rep behind it.
Yeah, that's hard. So what in that case, in any example? I mean, it doesn't have to be just that one, but like, would your go-to move be like, I saw that this is being used without my permission? Yeah. You have the attorney reach out on your behalf, or do you reach out and say, hey guys, just looping in my attorney. I saw that you did this. Yeah. You do it that way.
Yeah, I do.
So you do speak up, like.
Yeah, I always like to speak up because. If you don't, you're going to be taken advantage of because they're going to think you're a pushover. You're going to be like, we can do this again. He's, you know what I mean? And it's like, no, you have to speak up regardless. You have to bring, and again, I know it's scary, especially for the younger guys. They're like, they just want that exposure without that payment back. And it's like, no, there's a value to everything. You have to say something. Yeah. Even if it's an Instagram post and, you know, they just took it, let's say they took the photo from the venue and they posted it without tagging you, even just that, be like, hey man, like, this is my photo. Do you mind? Yeah. Like, just tagging me. You just got to do it.
And a lot of the time, I mean, most of the times they're gonna be like, oh yeah, cool. If they see your shit, if they see your message or whatever.
I always tell them, it was like, more often than not, it was a social media director who just did it and didn't pay attention, didn't care. Like the moment an artist sees that, they're embarrassed. Right. I guarantee you, they're like, they don't want their name to be known as that. Right. You know, they're artists themselves. They know what it is to have their stuff stolen. Yeah. They're very reasonable. They're very understandable.
That's a good point to make because I feel like a lot, especially in our Facebook group, which you just joined, by the way. Thanks for joining.
Oh yeah, I gotta go introduce myself.
You do. You do. That's a rule. New rules. We just launched them. He's reading them tight. And if anyone wants to join, bwnc.com/join. Join our free private group. But people literally hit me and were like, "Oh shit, a goat just joined," and then I was like, I saw it and I was like, yeah, no, wait 2 seconds. And I announced that you were coming. I was like, oh shit, you already got it dialed in. I'm like, yeah, you know me. But I don't even know what the fuck I was going to. Oh, people, sometimes the conversation in there is people are immediately upset when something happens like that. Like, yo, man, this motherfucker just posted my shit without tagging me. What should I do? And I don't think people think like that. I don't think people think or know that a lot of artists don't manage their fucking Instagrams. Yeah. Which, I mean, was way more true back in the day because now you have like stories and shit and a lot of people like to be active on that. But yeah, you know, you never know what the situation was, but you're totally right. Artists never take their song and start selling that shit bootleg outside. Be like, hey, do you like this, motherfucker? I just made so much money off your CD. Damn, that's crazy. That's a good. I love those tips, and I love the idea about attorney. Are you repped by anyone, management wise?
I am. Yeah.
You are?
Yeah. She reps like.
Oh yeah, I knew this. Actually,
not the person you met. I have another rep.
Oh,
she's just been helping me out with like this sort of stuff.
Okay,
like,
cool.
Lining stuff up, but my rep, she's dope.
How did you go about getting one?
As time was going on, like I got approached by a few people that manage photographers. Most of them manage like Instagrammers and influencers, for lack of a better term. And yeah, they're doing great work, but in my head I was like, how do you translate that to what I want to do?
Right.
I was like, I'm not trying to pitch, herbal essence on my page. Like that's not my thing. Like what I want you to pitch is go to Adidas and tell them I have a guy who's going to shoot your campaign or who's going to shoot whatever. That's what I want to do. I was like, I don't want to put, hey guys, like this is the new Adidas, whatever. That's not my thing.
Right.
And to be honest, I've done it. Sure.
Yeah.
But it took a while, and it was like, for me, it was like I needed somebody who understood the music business, for the fact that I would get a lot of I interviewed 3 managers before, and they legit were like, we're gonna do all of this for you, but we also want your music business. I was like, nah, you weren't there for me like the past 10 years with this music stuff. Like you're not getting a percentage of any of this stuff. Your job is to come here and get
new jobs.
You're gonna get paid a lot of money, because it's a lot of money, but you're not getting music. And a lot of them, got a little bit hurt about it and just move on. So, and finally found the right one, and it worked. It clicked, and we're here now. Like
Did you seek them out?
No, they
that was
dope.
Came
to me. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. It was kind of a referral too. Like I knew she reps another photographer that I know.
Do you say who they are?
The manager?
Your rep?
No, they don't care.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if it's worth plugging.
I've asked before. I was like, I'll plug you all you want. She was like, nah, that's not my thing. Well, like, she doesn't even have Instagram.
Isn't it good for people to know who it is in case they want to hire you to do jobs? How's that work?
I don't know.
Or do you have that in like your bio somewhere, like contact or some shit like that, so it just goes to them? Or
she just goes through my email. It just goes to my email. She has access to that.
Yeah,
so she goes through it.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy. That's dope. I've always felt like I've never been repped by anybody. Yeah. And after this last tour, I was like, man, it'd probably be so much easier to have shit handled, just because it's the same thing as the attorney deal. It's like you go to handle jobs and you don't want to be the fucking person fighting over a bag.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just want to do art, make your art, come here, let me do what I do, but also respect my shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So have you found it to be super beneficial to have a rep?
Yes, because this might sound a little diva-ish. Sometimes I don't want to write an invoice.
Yeah.
Sometimes I want my mind to be, or I want to concentrate on something else, and it's like she's taking care of that, and she's taking care of emails, and she's taking care. Obviously, like I see everything that comes in, and I get involved a lot.
Yeah.
But aside from obviously like the rep that she does for me with like branding and things like that, to me is like the behind the scenes, like tedious work that you have to do. Like, I mean, I can do it, sure, but there's times I'm like, you know what? Like, I just came back from an entire month in Europe. I'm exhausted. Like,
I don't want to download another W9.
Right. Like I don't want to do any of that. And she takes care of that. Like I don't have to worry about it.
That's clutch.
And she gives me like a peace of mind. Like, I'm not the easiest of her clients.
Yeah.
I'm a extremely picky guy sometimes.
Yeah.
And, but she's like a champ. She sticks in there. She does it.
That's good. I mean, that what you are looking for,
Yeah.
Moving forward, was it like, what is your goal? What is touring gets exhausting after a couple of years, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see how you've toured festivals, and then you've toured with artists.
To me, what I'd like to do is like, I like to see where the industry's going and try to stay on top of that. Yes, the festival circuit was like the way to go at the time that I was doing that. Touring came along. It was like, right now, this is what's hot right now, touring. And to me, like, where I would want to take it is creative director for a label. Like to me, I want to go ahead and pitch like, hey, like I've been touring with these artists and I've essentially been doing this exact same job for the past 3, 4, 5 years.
Right.
Let me come do this for your label.
Facts.
You have artists, and the way I view it is always like this: is like, yes, let's say a label like Republic. Yes, they have Post Malone, Ariana Grande. They can afford to hire full-time photographer, videographers, anybody. But that label is humongous. You have the lower to middle tier who their budgets are much smaller. Have the label already, it's into their best interest to have an in-house guy,
right?
To be able to create that content already. He's already on salary or retainer, whatever the case may be. And you have your in-house guys. Anytime you need content, he's right there,
right?
And I don't think a lot of labels see it. Like there's a few that are doing it, and I give them credit, but there's a lot who it's an oversight. It's all outside photographers who in my head I'm like, why wouldn't you want to have an in-staff guy doing this? Like bro,
they spend. Well, it's the name. It's like, yeah, but I get it, but do it every once in a while, but not all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Like,
and I've been doing that a little bit since I moved to LA. Like working with a couple of bands that are like, bringing up their content game. Like you could tell like some of their content wasn't the best, and I'm like, well, let me come in, let me re-up this, let me bring in some new looks, let me direct like whatever the shoot is happening. Like I just did this like 2 days ago with a band, like or 3 days ago, I'm sorry, and we were just shooting a new shoot. Like this is my third time shooting with them since I moved to LA, and it's like I love that they're like, we love what you did the first time, please continue to do that. And to the label is like, to them is like, I'm gonna take that and be like, hey, you love how that direction we took with these artists, let's just do it for all your artists. Yeah. And that's where I want to go. And obviously, like, I like to keep it in-house with my boys. Eventually, like with their label and however that grows, it'll be a conversation I'm definitely going to have with them down the line.
Chainsmokers have their own label?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, is it called Dream?
No.
Okay, what? I was the festival's Dream. I don't know.
Oh, Dreaming. Yeah, no. But that was only two shows.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, they're just starting now. It just started like last year. So they just signed one artist recently. So like to me, it's like I eventually would. That's my goal. I'm like, you know what?
Pick up steam.
Once that pick up steam and everything, I'm like, hey guys, I've been doing this for you. Let me do it for all your artists that you're signing. Right. And you have an in-house guy who's taking care of all the content possible. Yeah. And even if I can't do it, I'm gonna bring somebody in who can. Just like I did with Florida Georgia Line. I couldn't do the full tour. I did like the beginning of the tour, and when I couldn't do it, I brought in a friend. I was like, and it worked out great. A
trusted source. Yeah. They know it's going to happen. Yeah. It's going to be good because you suggested it. Yeah. I feel like also right now what I've noticed, not to call out names or whatever, but there's a lot of labels that have, like, especially in the video world, it's like you have video commissioners, right? Yeah. Their job is commission, production, get all the shit started for an artist. And then these people are fucking working full time for this label, but also like creating deals with people to get money off top from shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're literally like, hey, cut me off 10 racks every video we do, and I'll always bring the videos to you. So then you have like people working directly with these, and it's getting to this weird middle ground of shiciness that it is what it is. Where if you just spend a proper big, like if they got paid a lot of money, why would they go do that? Yeah. It wouldn't be worth it for them to try to skim 10 racks off and it just decreased the video by that much more. You know what I mean? By them taking a little bit of money. And
I mean, if you see it from the movie business, all these directors, they're all signed to a studio. Mm-hmm. Quentin Tarantino, he only shoots movies for this studio. Right. Like, why wouldn't you have your own photographer, your own videographer, your own video director, or whatever, in staff always? Right. For whatever. All of a sudden you sign the next Post Malone, and he doesn't have the budget to pay for everything. Guess what? You already have it in there. Exactly. So that to me, that's where I'm gonna be taking this eventually. Like, obviously, life on the road is hard. Yeah, totally. You can only do it for so long. So, right. Yeah. Damn, man, such an interesting concept. So Florida Georgia Line, that's kind of a little different pace. Yeah. So the connection to them was they did a song with Chainsmokers 2 years ago. Right. And that's how we sort of got connected. They came and did a show with us, met their whole crew, and their lead of creative for Big Loud and Maverick, I guess, was keeping tabs on me on my work. And one day randomly we ran into each other in Vegas. They just happened. They were doing their Vegas residency. We always in Vegas, and I was just running around with my camera at one point, and he literally just grabbed me. He was like, "Yo, you're Danilo." I love your work. What are you doing? I was like, let's talk. You know, we'll have some beers later. And it was like a process of like, it took almost like, I want to say like anywhere between 4 or 6 months of us emailing back like, hey, are you available? I'm not. Damn.
Yeah, right.
Like, hey, do you have anybody for this date? I'm available. It's like, oh, we booked somebody. And like, and it took a little bit till he finally emailed me. He was like, are you, like, it was just like, are you available at this date? It's like, it was short to the point. I was like, I'm available. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's do this. And I mean, I love that his vision. I don't know if it's how it is in the hip hop world, but I see it at least in pop and country, where it's always the same style photographer.
Okay,
you get the same kind of work from there. Is no, I hate to say originality, but there's sometimes it's like if somebody's doing something amazing, it's gonna get copied real quick. And his vision was like, I want to bring guys who don't shoot country. I want to bring guys who have, you know, they shoot something else completely different. He was like, and the way he said it was like, you know, I like how you shoot EDM. Can you bring that to a country concert?
Right.
I was like, of course. And that was my goal, was like, just like the beginning, how do we show off this entire tour? Not just the artist, that crop, you know, it's like, that's what you always get, the guitar. It's like, no, like there's a lot of things happen. Like one of my favorite photos of this year was from that show, where it was a kid on the shoulders. I mean, I happened to be, I was walking away from the crowd to go back on stage. And I just peeked over. I saw the kid in there and it hit me. I was like, he's going to come and he's going to pound the kid. I don't know what in my head told me.
Oh, he's
that
like right by stage.
Yeah, because they have one of the struts, you just go in the middle, but there's like sort of splits.
Right.
And in my head, I'm like, this looks like a moment that he would come in. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, these guys are great, like, with their fans.
Right.
So I ran back into the crowd. I stood right behind the kid, and I saw it coming, like, slow motion, like, what's up, kid? I blasted maybe like 1,000 photos.
Yeah, you made sure you got that
yeah. And it was like, to them, and when they saw that photo, they were like, holy shit, like, we haven't had this. I'm like, yeah, because you guys just stay in one spot. They stay in the pit. Like, they don't move around. Like, to me, I'll go way far and, you know, pop off that 400 if I need to.
Right.
But, you just got to do it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Do they have, like, pyro and shit, too?
Yeah.
They have a lot?
Yeah, now they've incorporated pyro, fire, CO2.
Yeah,
like, It's a proper concert. So it's like
getting there. Yeah, it's like you can do the same shit.
Yeah.
That's fucking tight.
Yeah. To me, it was like, when I was like, saw it, I was like, I do this every show.
Right.
But I love that he had that vision to say, like, we need to show off this tour. How do we show this off differently?
Right.
It's so genius. To me, it's like more creatives, at least creative directors or marketing directors, whatever, should think that way.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. He's I'm one, like, to me, as like I told him, he called me the other day when we were setting up the other photographer to come in, and like he legit was like, dude, I'm only calling you. You're my guy. And I was like, sorry. I was home that week, and he was like, I'm sorry, I'm calling you on your time off. I was like, Lloyd, you can call me anytime.
Right.
Bro. Like, I'll pick up always 1,000%, because one, you had the vision. Two, you trusted me to deliver on that vision. I was like, you can call, even if whatever I'm doing, if I'm having surgery, call me. I'm most likely to pick up. Don't worry about it.
Under the is it? Do you feel like it's challenging being a photographer, because you don't do video, right?
No, I'm not often asked to do video. It's super rare that anybody asks me to do video.
Because I feel like at this point, a lot of people feel like they have to do both.
Yeah.
I happen to do both just because I just like doing both.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I feel like a lot of people feel like they get pinned in that corner, but you haven't been pushed.
No. Thankfully, no.
Yeah.
At the beginning, right when I've kind of, like, before I started touring with Chainsmokers, I was doing these, like, one-off tours with, like, different artists, like, you know, Above and Beyond, DJ Snake, things like that.
Right.
And, like, this was early on in their careers, before they themselves started having their own in-house guys.
Right.
And yes, they would be like, hey, can you do some video? Like, can you maybe not do a recap, but can we have raw videos? And there was one artist that asked me for a recap, and I legit told him, I was like, you know, the way I work with photos, I can edit a show within an hour and a half of the show ending. I can have photos ready. And I told him, I joked with him, and I was like, I'm laughing, but I'm being 1,000% honest. It's gonna take me a month
to make this video.
Yeah, you know. And he was like, all right, maybe let's not do this.
Find somebody else.
Like, and he did, which was all right.
I feel like it is. It seems to be like more and more so needed in that lane. I just think people know, a DSLR shoots photos and videos, so they just assume that everyone practices both.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm thankfully, when I'm asked to shoot, they only want, they're coming to me for photos. They're not coming to me for videos. Like a lot of them, have their list of videographers that they like to work with.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's dope. Yeah. What's like your current setup right now for when you're shooting shows? What are you shooting with?
I do 1DX Mark II, 5D Mark IV, 7200 always on the Mark IV. On the 1DX, I do fisheye 1635, 2470. 35 millimeter, 50 millimeter, and I'm throughout the show. I'm just constantly changing. Yeah,
you're having them in a backpack.
Yeah, so I have a backpack that I wear, and I have like a chest bag now, because I have in-ears now. I can hear the show, so it's like easier for me to just put shit in there.
Right.
That's my current setup right now. Yeah.
If someone's just getting started, what would you suggest to them to like start with? Because I think having 2 cameras is a fucking blessing. Obviously, we can't always afford it when we're getting started.
To be honest, technology is so good right now. The entry level cameras are really good. They're not a 5D Mark IV, resolution. They're not, a 1DX speed. But if you can make it work, at the end of the day, when you get to that level of the 1D to buy the 1DX Mark II, you're gonna be so thankful that you learn with that before you got to 'cause I've seen some kids legit show up. They're like, oh, this is my second show, and I look, I'm like, you have like $100,000 worth of gear,
right?
And you can you're asking me how to turn this on. And like what are you doing? Go learn something else before you do that. And I try to I hate being that guy, because I hate guys that do this. I it's a strong word, but I should say dislike maybe guys who don't help younger photographers. Yeah, I've actually seen it in person. A kid go up to a guy, and the guy's like, bro, I don't have time, and I just sit there that was your chance. All you had to do was just say a nice word, and you would have made his entire day.
And now he no longer looks up to you.
No, now he's just pissed off, and he's probably gonna steal your clients.
Yeah, fuck up your whole shit in a year and a half. Remember me?
Because you know what? He's gonna get good at some point.
He is. Yeah,
and more often than not, he's gonna come after you.
Right.
And to me, it's I rather teach. I rather encourage his kids. I'm like, even if in my head I'm like, why are you doing this? In the end, I'd rather them have the knowledge right then and there, and for them to use that knowledge. And I always tell them, I was like, whatever advice I give you, at some point in your career, you're gonna get to here, and somebody else is gonna come and ask you for advice, and you're gonna probably most likely give them the advice I give you, but don't ever hold back. My advice I gave you, it's free. It's for you to share that.
Yes.
Share it with whoever. Pass it forward. This is not for you to own.
Yeah.
And I always leave it like that. And it's like a little serious conversation. After we've been having fun and laughing, I'm like,
listen here, man.
You gotta pass it shit forward. Share it.
That's why I started this motherfucker, because I'm like, there's too many people that have questions. You know what I mean? And it's like,
even for me, like I said, looking at the interviews, and so the Adam interview, I was like, I don't know him personally. We've never met ever. We never crossed paths.
Yeah.
But I can appreciate his come up. I can appreciate his hustle.
Fuck.
Like you said, he was doing groceries.
He was working in grocery,
bro. And he was it just hit it, And it's to him to be like, you know what? Yes, I replied to this, and yes, I do this, and yes, I do that, and explaining all this stuff to me. I was like, when the crew thing, I'm like, this is things that people like to hear, should like to hear.
Yeah. No, I think it's super important. I appreciate you being able to come up here and
No, thanks for having me.
You started a podcast, bro. Start doing.
Everybody keeps saying that. I was
from the jet. Call it that. From the jet.
I recently did a Instagram live where I don't even know why I was doing it. I was with Chris Yoder.
Yeah.
In his hotel room, and I like to bug him, put him on live because he doesn't like that.
Right.
And he's reluctantly. I was in his bed in his hotel room, and I was just like, we have here Chris, and I don't know why I was like, hey, this is welcome to our show, and it's like, obviously I was just kidding around, and afterwards I got DMs were like, yo, can you do that again? That was awesome. I was like,
that's
all right, maybe, I don't know, we'll see.
Okay, well, dude,
we'll see.
Turn out if it's IG. Let me tell you this: if you can get away without having to do all this shit, and you can just play it on IG Live, you're killing it.
Yeah, but my arm is getting tired. You could definitely tell it's like shaky.
Get a tripod, some shit. Chris Yoder is a fucking beast, bro. Yeah. I met him. So when I was in Iowa, one of my homies from Iowa moved to Chicago, and they both started doing all the Chicago shows and shit. And he's gone.
He's crazy.
Yeah, his shit was nuts. All the stuff he did with Carnage, those recaps were fucking
cinematic.
Super cinematic.
He brought that look to the EDM world, that was so original that you started seeing everybody start copying like immediately. It was
I
like,
loved it.
You saw all the copycats, and it was like, and he's a guy who doesn't like to take the accolade, but he definitely should. It's like, bro, like you've done more for that, and for at least EDM industry than you give yourself credit for.
Right.
You know, him and I started around the same time, but we didn't get to know each other till like later on in our careers. Obviously, I knew him from Carnage. Obviously, he knew me from other stuff, but we never crossed paths. And then finally, we did a tour, which is a Chainsmokers tour together. It was the first time we worked together, and it's like, dude, like you need to like take that credit.
Yeah.
You know, like, and he's always like, nah,
reserved.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is dope. I mean, I can appreciate that, but I mean, he's a beast.
Super beast.
Yeah.
Damn. Fuck, man, this is a great interview. I appreciate it. I'm like, I don't know.
I'm telling you, I was hyped to do this.
Were you?
Yeah. At the moment, it was brought up to me. I was like, 100%. And there was like a period of time when Cass was trying to like figure things out. I'm like, can you just get it done? Like, can you just give me a yes?
Yes.
When is it a yes?
Damn, it just ain't that hard to get on this motherfucker. Like, shit. It's the only people I say or I don't even answer are just like the kids that are on the DMs that are like, hey man, can I get on? How much does it cost to get on the podcast? I'm like, the fuck?
Well, how much?
$1 million. A lot of money. It costs nothing, bro. As long as you got fucking advice.
Yeah, and that's when like I resaw that because I remember I was like, wait, I remember Dusty being here, and I was like, hey man, like how was that experience? And he was like, what, you haven't done it? I was like, no, that's what I'm at. Like, you know, and it's like, I got it. Don't worry. I got it.
I like that. It's just assumed that people are like on it. Like, you haven't done it yet? What the hell? Everyone's done it. Yeah. That's goals. That's what we're trying to do. Get everybody on here. Now it's fun. But all right. So I have we do a Patreon only Q&A experience. Yeah. So I'm gonna ask a couple of their questions, but I just want to thank you, bro. This show is fucking awesome. What a hell of like a intro into this shit. Like, it's cool because the only other photographer that I know that's in that circa of festivals is like Greg Noir.
Yeah. Oh, you need to have him on.
We're very every time it's like in and out, and then we're like,
Him and I just recently met at Lollapalooza, Chicago. Really? Yeah, it's the first time I met him.
Yeah, Greg's a beast.
But we have mutual friends because. I forget what her title is. I think she's a backstage coordinator. Okay. For Childish Gambino. She's also now our backstage coordinator. Oh, shit. So obviously I've always known of Greg because of her, and she like linked us up when we were in Lollapalooza because he was shooting our stage as well. He was assigned to our stage. Right. So I was like, hey man, like this is what happens during this show. Give him all the tips. And I'm like, man, like he was like, man, I like your stuff. I was like, bro, I love your stuff. Yeah. Like, you know, like you're doing crazy stuff. So.
He's so nuts. Yeah. His Gambino work was off the chain, but just the way he handles festivals. Yeah. We tried to do an interview at our hotels in Coachella when we were there, but it was like, dude, it's just, you know, like, can you imagine me trying to do this with you in the middle of that shit? I don't know what I was thinking. All right, so we have a Patreon account where like people can support us on there or whatever, so they get to ask questions. So I'm gonna fire off a couple questions for you. Nicholas, he said, and maybe we went over some of these, but you can just give your best advice. Nicholas Glassberg, also I fuck up everyone's last name and first name. Your best tips for a concert photographer who aspires to get to tour someday?
Best tip, get off the stage. Go photograph everything else that's happening during the show. Your artist is going to appreciate that so much more than 50 photos of the back of his head or 50 photos of his face. Right. You know, he's going to be like, this is a crazy show we just put on. I got this. You know, they don't get to see it. You know, they're on stage. Their concentration is somewhere else. Right. Show them how crazy that show was, and they're going to appreciate it much more.
It's true. I think it's also funny because a lot of photographers, videographers don't get to see that view. So they're like, oh my God, fucking this is what 100,000 people look like the whole time. It's like, yo, they look at that shit every single night.
I know. Like, and I have my way how I do, like I map things out before a show. I'm like, I'm going to spend 15 minutes here. Then I'm going to walk and it's going to take me 10 minutes. I'm going to shoot for the next 10 minutes here and 12 minutes here. Right. And by the end of how I map it out, we have an hour and a half and it's done.
You ever feel like super athletic because you have to like jump over fences and shit? I've always loved that stuff where I'm like, fuck, I gotta get over this shit. Move out of the way.
Maybe a little bit now that I've lost a little weight, but it's like before it was like sluggish. It was like, all right, we gotta go get there.
10 minutes to get over there. It's like across the stage. All right, Daniel Thompson says, do you think it's harder nowadays to get into this industry? How do you differentiate yourself in a saturated field? How you stand out in a saturated field?
The best way, and I'll say this because it's one of my favorite posts. Effort. It's a simple word. Artists like effort. Why? Because they put in a lot of effort to get to where they are. And if they're going to have a photographer who's just going to joke around and think it's a game, you're going to be treated as such.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is Drew and Alex, Chainsmokers, they did a post when we were in Australia where they were like, we had some time off. Like we hadn't shot in maybe like a month or two. And I was so hyped to get to this show, to this festival. And I like, before the show, I was like, I'm about to crush this show.
Yeah.
I've been dying to shoot the show. And deliver the photos, everything. And they didn't have to do this, but they did it. They were like, we're thankful for Danilo because he, that we have a photographer who puts in as much effort into his work as we do into ours. And I screenshotted that and I put it sometimes, I'm like, on my Insta story, I was like, effort. Just go out there. You know, like you want to be different. It's hard to be original nowadays because everything, there's a lot of work. There's a lot of people doing new things and that gets copied and it's just very hard. But you want to be different than anybody else, put in the work, put in the effort, show that you're there to work.
I love that.
Yeah.
Will you send me that screenshot?
I will.
I'm going to put that over the shit. All right, last question. Kaiser says, shooting country music in the creative community is almost seen as taboo. What are some ways that you create and make it interesting and stand out amongst other genres like EDM, for example?
I didn't know it was taboo.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
I specifically know who he is, and he shoots primarily all country music. I think maybe it's taboo because he's in Black with No Cream, which is primarily all fucking hip hop and shit like that. So maybe it feels like that in the community, which is interesting.
I tell people, country music festival shows, they are amazing.
Yeah.
Go shoot it. You're gonna have an incredible time.
They got all the baddest chicks in the crowd. If you're trying to see some good crowd shots, all the girls go to country shows. If you're trying to find a girlfriend, go to country shows, yo.
Southern girls.
Man, yo, I'm telling you, when Florida Georgia Line comes to Iowa, goes to my university where I went to school, it's over with for the town.
Those are some wise
booty
words.
shorts and fucking boots and all that shit. And these dudes are up here. Shout out to fucking Florida Georgia Line.
Hell yeah.
Pulling that up.
I mean, I don't know. What was the question again? Like something.
He
about
said, how do you make it interesting or stand out? I think, I mean, you already explained it. It's like you came in and did what you were doing for EDM, but brought it to the country world.
Don't overthink it, to be honest. Just with anything. Like even if I went into a hip hop show, I wouldn't overthink it. I always tell guys, like they're like nervous to do their first tour. They're like, I always get the DMs like, oh my God, like thank you for the advice. This is my first tour, but I'm super nervous. I don't know what to do. And I always tell them, why are you worried? 50% of the job is already done. You're there.
Yeah, you got
hired.
Yeah.
What you got hired for?
Do that.
That's that.
So
that's it. And
true.
it's like, like, I'm like, first take a deep breath and then just go do what you do. It got you there.
Love that.
Yeah.
Damn. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show.
No,
okay. Wait. I almost forgot. Damn. So I always tell everyone at the end of the podcast, you probably heard it on Adams and shit like that and Dusty's. I'm going to let you pick a hashtag. Okay. I'm telling everyone to go to your Instagram and tag me on that shit, right? They're going to put @BenRealVerseWorld and they're going to put this hashtag.
All right. Ooh.
You can choose anything you want.
All right. I got it. I'm going to use the hashtag we use. So it's hashtag team content.
Team content.
Use it for everybody, not just us.
There we go. All right, cool. What's your Instagram?
@Danilo Lewis.
There we go. Go there. Drop that shit. Damn, man. Yeah, you've been killing it. Was there anything else you want to plug?
No plug. Just wanted to be here. I wanted to chat.
You want to put your Venmo account out there so people send you money for this fucking fire knowledge? Dave, we should start doing that, Dave. We should start be like, all right, hey, his Venmo is this. You can thank him that way. Or just hit us on Patreon. All right, man.
Do that.
Yeah,
do that.
Yeah,
because I like this podcast, so go do that.
Thank you.
I want to see more of this podcast.
Thank you.
I legit was like editing photos the other day with the podcast in my ears.
Hey.
Because I needed to edit, so I couldnde watch it.
Right.
So I just put it in there and I spent like 3 hours through like
just banging out.
I did like, I think 2 morning rows and the Zoe what's her name? Rain. Like her interview.
Hard.
I was like, oh, and then I was like, I'm done editing. I was like, oh wow, this went really quick.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
I fucking will binge some podcasts. You can just fly through shit, but it's like I think it's such a slept on tool. And we just had a conversation about this in our community and I was like, yo, what, why, who's listening to it? And if you're not, why not? And people are like, man, I just don't have much time. And I'm like, some people are like, I'm too busy creating. I'm like, that is not true because I am too.
And I living life.
Still am like going to the resources this way. Like you have to carve out time, but it's like, God damn.
Yeah.
These shits, everything you just said. Yeah. You know how many people are going to listen to this and be like, fuck, I need to get off the stage. And they might not ever have thought about that, but they just listen to one podcast episode and it changed the shit.
I hope so.
And then times 100. Anyways. All right. How do you want to end this? We can end it however you want. We're just putting up the peace signs. All right, we out. Thank you, bro.
Thank you, man.
Boom. That's it. Thank you for listening to this episode with Danilo Lewis. Make sure to follow him on all social platforms. And if you guys want to be able to ask our people that we interview questions, you want to get a part of that Q&A experience, you need to join us on Patreon. Patreon.com/blackwithnocream. When you become a homie, you get to ask any of our guest questions. I let you know before I interview them, and we make sure we add space for them to be lit up with questions by you guys. So if you want to do that, patreon.com/blackwithnocream. New episode every single Wednesday and Sunday. This one was amazing. Glad you guys are listening. Please leave us comments and let us know how we did. Anything that sticks out to you, we'd love to know. And make sure to subscribe to us on whatever platform you're listening to. And if you're listening to it on iTunes, you should just go over to YouTube and subscribe to us anyway, because we drop fucking banger videos like the behind the scenes content that we do in the field episodes. Start looking at that playlist. I suggest it to you if you're a creator. Check it out. All right, cool. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.